staying positive in your head and staying mentally strong is important when it physically hurts. And so the next time I tried 100 miles, it was like just being too stubborn to quit. And that has taught me a lot about the mental game, which led to when I lost my vision and it becoming just a mental, like, problem solving situation and not a reason to panic or to quit.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stokely, a chance for you to connect, listen, learn, and evolve through the art of conversation. And today we get to have that conversation with Courtney Dauwalter, who's a phenomenal ultra running and trail running athlete, and she's gone on to achieve some incredible accolades in the sport of trail and ultra running. And to be honest, the list is really just too long to even read out right now. But if you have heard of Courtney, no doubt you know that she is achieving some really incredible things. And today we get to talk a lot about that, but also we get to find out a lot about who she is just as a person. And it's really awesome to hear her speak about life outside of running and what that means to her. And particularly, I really enjoyed hearing like what she deems as successful and what she deems as being a success in her own life. And the answer might surprise you, and it definitely surprised me. And it just went to show that Courtney really is just a humble, really nice person. I really hope you enjoy this conversation, and I hope you find out a little bit more about someone who is being a real inspiration in the sport right now. Thanks a lot. Let us know what you think. I really hope you enjoy it. Before we do get into the conversation, I do want to take a moment to thank the traditional custodians upon the lands which this podcast was created, and I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Courtney Dauwalter.
So thanks again, Courtney, for having a chat today. I really appreciate you taking the time and the energy to have a yarn.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a weird time in the world right now, hey?
It's a very weird time in the world, yeah.
Are you going with it all?
Yeah, we're okay. I mean, I'm in awe of all the families and the people who are having to juggle a lot of new things that they didn't have to do before. And, it's just Kevin and I, so we're not homeschooling kids and we're not, navigating a whole new area. Really, it's a lot the same for us. So we're lucky in that way. And I'm also just hoping the best for everyone juggling all of those things and dealing with some of the worst of this.
Yeah, I mean, because you used to be a teacher, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of funny things about parents being like, teachers should be getting paid $1 million. This is ridiculous. Have you got any advice for how to homeschool children?
Oh, no. I mean, you're doing great. Keep plugging away at it. Don't beat yourself up. I'm so amazed. And same with the teachers. Everyone who's had to pivot from being this in the classroom hands-on teacher to now trying to figure out technology to teach online is crazy to me in the middle of a year. So I think I hope everyone is just, giving themselves a lot of space to make mistakes and be okay with that. Yeah,
definitely. It is such a valid point that just like so many people have had to try. Well, a lot of people would have to try really hard to understand this whole new way of connecting with students. And yeah, I mean, like when I was at school, there was a lot of dinosaur teachers. They were like pretty old, and don't get me wrong, some of them were nice. Some of them were dinosaurs with their personality as well. But I don't think they would have been able to. I don't think they would have been able to just be like have a Zoom meeting with a class. They just wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's hard because everyone was in the middle of, semesters or whatever. So it's like they were probably prepared out for the next month or two, and now suddenly none of that is helpful because they're now doing it via Zoom or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. It's so crazy. So everyone just keep at it. Keep your head down. Pushing forward.
Do you have what's your thoughts on when this is going to blow over and life returns back to somewhat of a normality?
I have no idea. Do you have the answers?
I definitely do not. No. And I thought we might be able to speak it out and get to the answers at the end of this conversation, but we've covered that already. So no.
Yeah. The answer is no. Yeah, no, I'm really curious what it will look like as we start to get to the other side of it, and how that whole process will, all of this will undo itself. I don't know. It's going to be another crazy thing we'll all experience together.
Yeah, absolutely. Because one of the things that came out of it, you were saying just before, is that you did a virtual race the other day, and you said that was like a pretty cool thing to be a part of. Can you go into that a bit?
Yeah, it was really cool. It was set up as a backyard race where you do 4 miles every hour on the hour, and you just go until you can't or don't want to, or people had obligations. But thousands of people from all over the world signed up to do this, and then we met on Zoom and saw each other at the top of every hour, got to encourage each other to keep going, and then everyone went off and did their 4-mile loop, whether it was outside, on a treadmill, in a living room, in a restaurant. There was a girl who plowed herself a path in northern Sweden through the snow out on this frozen lake. So it was cool, and it felt like being part of that ultra community for a little bit, and just being with people again.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I'm from Australia. I spent my life growing up here, so I have been a lot in the snow before. I've never actually spent a lot of time shoveling snow, so I can imagine shoveling a 4-mile path of snow would be a workout in itself.
Yeah.
Would that take? How long would that take? 24 hours or something?
Probably, yeah. That's an ultra in itself. I mean, my porch takes me sometimes an hour, depending on how deep it is. But I think she might have had a plow or I don't know.
All right.
I'm not sure. We'd have to ask her.
Yeah. We need to ask this lady, because she might be a beast, and we need to get her into the sport of ultra running. She
is a beast. She was third. She didn't bow out of the race until 48 hours about.
Solid.
Yeah.
So what temperature would she be have running in that whole time?
Cold. I think I don't know it. She said it in Celsius at one point, but I didn't even register the number because I was like, oh, I can't do the math right now on that. It was cold. She was bundled, and then a snowstorm blew in at one point, and her nighttime was never, matching up with everyone else's nighttime. So it was really cool to have all these people from all over the world, making the most of this 4 miles an hour thing just to do it. There was no reason for it. It didn't if you won it or got to a certain distance, nothing happened.
Yeah, nice. I think to bring people together in a time like this is pretty important. And I guess that's where technology plays a really, really good part in that, And
yeah.
What was your piece of advice every hour on the hour that you gave to people?
I didn't have advice. I had a joke book. So every hour I told a joke.
No way. Can you recall one of those for us? Because you owe me a few jokes, by the way. I'm pretty sure.
Do I?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely one or two.
Yeah.
So,
I'm surprised you weren't just tuned into the live stream watching us all run 4 miles an hour for days. Then you would have gotten the jokes.
Yeah, I guess. Apologies for that. So is this your way of getting out of telling the joke, or? Yeah, okay, you're nodding. Yeah. Cool. Hey, anyway, so this, obviously we're going to have to go find this Swedish lady, because she sounds like a legitimate badass. But
she is.
Who won? How long did it go for?
Oh, it went for 63 hours, I think.
Wow.
It came down to Mike Wardian, who was running on his neighborhood streets outside Washington, D.C., and Radek Brunner from the Czech Republic, maybe, and he was doing it on a treadmill.
Okay, excellent. That is some decent running on a treadmill.
Yeah,
I think I did see that actually. Mike Wardian ran something like over 400 kilometers. It was incredible.
yeah. They both did, because how the format works is the winner only does one more lap than the second place person, and then the race is over.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Both of them were way up there in, I guess maybe like 260-ish miles.
That's solid.
Just by themselves for a race, but not really a race, like it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's an interesting format, because it's kind of come into the light lately. It's definitely it's definitely cool how someone can dream up that concept, and then it gets like widely adopted by a bunch of intelligent people, and then they go out and start running loops around someone's backyard when it's not quarantine season and all of that.
Yeah, it's a cool format for finding your own limit, whatever that is. So I know a ton of people on the Zoom quarantine backyard ultra, like did their first ultra they've ever done, or broke that distance barrier that they thought was never possible, but by just breaking it down to those 4-mile chunks, and probably helped that there's nothing else to be doing, so might as well do one more lap.
It's I didn't realize that. There must be so many small little stories within that big event that's pretty inspiring, pretty cool to find out about. Absolutely. You weren't really like going hard out and didn't try to achieve like winning it or anything. Did you just go out and run 100 miles, I think it was?
Yeah, I stopped at 100 miles, which was 24 hours. And the whole thing for me was to have some fun, be with the community. And I was really hoping to feel good enough to keep going through that first night. And then when I hit 100 miles, it felt like a perfect distance to not be destroyed after. Like I physically felt still good and mentally fresh. And so then I could build off of that as like boosting me in my training, as opposed to totally destroying myself and having to work back from that.
Yeah, that's I guess you've still got potential events that you can be participating in this summer, so it's probably a good idea to play it smart if you can.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Are you still making up a lot of your experimental training, shall we say, or training? I don't want to belittle that, because obviously it works, but you're still kind of experimenting a lot and kind of coming up with that yourself, or have you taken some time to get some outside help in that regard?
No, I still do not have a coach, so I guess I'm still making it up. I did get a lot of help this past year, just being injured and working with a physical therapist team. They have a lot more knowledge and a lot of wisdom on some things on how to stay uninjured. And so, taking some of those nuggets and now applying them to my training when I'm not injured has been a good learning process for me.
Yeah, nice. Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, if it's working, roll with it, hey? So just quickly back to the backyard side of things. So you did do a race outside of quarantine, and I guess it's an interesting format, because it's like we were talking about before, it kind of really kind of forces you to find your limit in a very gradual way, I suppose. And I just wanted to ask, you've been through a lot of events, you've done like 240 miles in one distance at Moab 240, or do they call it Moab 200? And you managed to win the race, and so I assume that in that situation you didn't find your limit, but this backyard one that you did, you must have found your limit because eventually you stopped. So what was it at that moment, like 5 minutes leading up to being like, oh wow, like this is the moment I've been waiting for. My limit has come to say hello to me.
Disappointing, I guess. I think so. When I did it 2 years ago, not in the quarantine format, so in real life with people, I made it 279 miles, and I I think there were a couple rough hours there that just beat me down mentally and physically. Of course, it was hurting at that point, but that's to be expected. And so I think I didn't necessarily find my limit. I just gave into a weak point before like giving my chance to physically find the limit. But I think the mental piece of it is really interesting and important. And those times when it feels like a mental limit, I think is when we have to, try really hard to keep pushing past that. And I had run out of the energy and the power to push past it in my head. Like I didn't have anything left to give. But of course, in hindsight, it's easy then to be like, well, next time you just will keep going when you feel like that. Like now you've been to that spot, and now we keep looking past it to see what happens next. So I'm excited. I hope to have another shot at it. And hopefully that wasn't my actual limit that I encountered the first time.
Yeah, that's so interesting because, in hindsight, when you look back, it's like, oh, it's a pretty simple answer. I've just got to keep going when I start to think that and feel that. But like, what would you have done differently? Would you have done anything differently, or simply just like, is it that easy to just say, oh no, hey, just keep going?
I don't know. It's hard to say at this point because the memories become a little bit faded on how bad it was actually hurting and how depleted of energy I had become. But yeah, I think probably both Kevin and I, because he was crewing me at it, would next time just try to, shovel some calories in, do any quick fix to just get me on the start line for another lap, and then wait for it to kick in and hopefully rebound from, this like major low point that I had reached. To me, it felt like I had no charge left. Like I was a battery and I was completely empty and there was no way to even partially recharge it. Like it felt like my brain and my body were just done. But I hope then the next time I encounter it, I can, just grow from that and be better because I've been in that spot before.
Yeah, right.
What I think is that maybe you want to try one.
Yeah, I mean, the
That's
world
what I'm
is
hearing.
Yeah, the world is full of opportunities, especially in the sport of running. I mean, it's incredible what's on offer these days. I mean, obviously, quarantine issues aside, it's pretty amazing sport, and it's there's a lot out there to get involved in, to try out. I think it's certainly cool, and you're certainly you, along with a lot of other people in the sport, are definitely showing people that it is possible to go further and to find those kind of limits. And it's even rad when you see people that, it blows me away is when you see mid-pack people, back of the pack people, even front of the pack people, and you look at them and you're like, wow, I mean, you do not like typically look like you're somewhat of like a really fit athletic person, but you're out here climbing up this mountain right now, and that is just blowing my mind. Like, and I often wonder, we've been in the sport of running for a while, and it's kind of like the thing that we do. It's like it's not as big of a thought to go out and run 50K or whatever. But there's some people out there that you see, and they really haven't run a 50K before, and they're really kind of out of their depth, and to them it's this insanely large challenge. And I often wonder, like, what is that equivalent for me? Like, what, and I think, geez, it would be like going to swim the channel from, I don't know, England to France or something. Like, do you know what that would be for you? That equivalent, incredible, just random challenge?
Oh man, I don't know. I think if you put swimming in the mix, I'm gonna be struggling quite a bit. And it would take a lot of work for me to get to a point where I'd feel comfortable, entering a triathlon and trying to finish an Ironman or something like that. So maybe it's involving some other skill besides just running.
Well, maybe there you go. Maybe you've got to go and do a triathlon.
Yeah. Eventually I want to try one. I think it seems fun.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting, just to, I think the people of triathlon are interesting. It'd be nice to go and spend a day with them and just to see what they're all about,
So you've never done one?
I haven't done triathlon, no. I mean, and, there's no major reason for that. It's just that I've kind of been into running for quite a while, and that's kind of kept me pretty busy. So I'm just enjoying that. Yeah. So, because it's so interesting when you start to look back at where you came from in the sport of running and like what you've done. I've looked at how in your first attempt at running 100 miles that you did drop out at around about 60 miles, I think. And then you can obviously tell us a little bit more about why you did that. And then I compare that to other moments in races that you've done, and such as Run Rabbit Run, again, when you finished it and you won it with this like incredible like situation with blindness. And I'm like, how do you go from like not finishing to then finishing with this extreme like situation? Like that is a big gap you filled in there, because I'll let you go into detail of why you weren't able to, what made you stop at the first attempt at 100 miles, and then you kind of pushed the limit to an extreme level to finish it another time. So maybe just let us know what that was like to go through that process of decision making from one to the other.
Yeah, for sure. I think the first attempt where I did drop out was pushing over the domino that, eventually led to the other time finishing where I lost my vision during it. And the first 100-mile race I tried was Run Rabbit Run. I had done a 50K and a 50-mile before it, and decided 100 miles was my next thing I wanted to try. And it started hurting physically really bad, probably early on. But I remember around 50 miles, it was like I didn't know a pain like that in my legs, where they had just been running so long and had so far to go still. And in my head, then I just got really down on myself and started, talking negatively and telling myself that I wasn't capable of 100 miles, and, what a joke to be out there, and I should just throw in the towel. This sport isn't for me, obviously. And so by the time I reached the next aid station at mile 60, I had, convinced myself of this, that there was no way I'd get to the finish line and I should just quit the race. So I did. And basically 12 hours later, maybe 18 hours later, I had decided that I was capable and that I would try 100 miles again. And that the next time I tried, there were going to be no excuses for quitting early. And so that took 1 year before I tried my next 100, where it basically I had to learn like the whole mental piece of running through that, and how, staying positive in your head and staying mentally strong is important when it physically hurts. And so the next time I tried 100 miles, it was like just being too stubborn to quit. And that has taught me a lot about the mental game, which led to when I lost my vision and it becoming just a mental, like, problem solving situation and not a reason to panic or to quit.
Yeah, wow. So, I mean, because when you hear the story, and maybe you can go into a little bit more detail about starting to lose your vision, surely there does come a point where you think, okay, physically something is not right, and I've got to start to bring that consideration into the fold and understand that this is, just a race, and if I don't finish it, then that's totally okay. I don't know what your opinion is on that, if it's okay now to not finish races, but how do you, when you start to play that mental game of like, stubbornness versus rational thought of it's probably a good idea to back off right now. Like what goes through your mind if that situation arises?
I've learned to trust myself a lot. So when the vision thing happened, it was 12 miles out from the finish of a 100-mile race. I had blurriness around the edges of my vision. And by 10 miles out, it had closed in and I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. It was just pure white. So I solved it by staring down at the ground, and I could see a little arc in front of my toes and just continued to move as quickly as possible to get to the finish line. And it never was flagging to me as like a brain thing or a permanent thing. It felt like, something is wonky with my eyes right now, but it felt pretty topical, versus like Western States last summer when my hip went crazy and stopped working. Then it was sending up flags like, this is a physical thing. You don't actually know what it is. And so don't make it worse by continuing to run on it for 20 more miles. So I'm hoping that if I, just listen to myself and pay attention to like do a full systems check pretty often during races, that I can get some feedback and learn what things are sending up flags and which things are those ones that you can mentally push through and be okay with. I'm not trying to hurt myself or anything.
Yeah, sweet. That's good to know, because no one, obviously the best way to go about being a runner, probably being an athlete, is to be healthy and uninjured. So
that's the preferred way to be.
Yeah. So I suppose, do you, it sounds very intuitive, obviously pain can be a pretty incredible sensation, and to understand the nuances between that severe pain that is detrimental for potentially the long term, and then that other pain it's not good, but that it's something that you can work with, and you can kind of use to help aid what you're trying to achieve. I guess, the pain cave is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Is that how you go about running in general in your training as well? Is it really like a feel thing, or is it, like a lot of metrics get used for people who train? Do you go a lot off feel, and is that how you go through your the way you stress your body and then rest accordingly?
Yeah, entirely by feel and like checking systems as I'm running, assessing like mentally and physically where I'm at on different days, and putting trust in myself to listen to my body when it's telling me it needs a break, and to push the gas pedal down when it feels like it's time to put in some hard work. So there's no like I don't know. I couldn't like write down that system for you. It's not like something I can even articulate very well. It's just trying to tune in as much as possible, and then learn from, the things that haven't worked, or if I was missing something in my training before, adapting that and taking it forward.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about the rational thinking mind, and also your body's ability to feel. I've been reading up a lot on this, and it's very much controlled by different parts of the brain. And so the feeling side, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's not easy to communicate, because it's really not linked to that language center and the part that really, translates things in a rational way. So it's cool to know that, like, it's hard to describe, because I feel like even the enjoyment of the sport of running can sometimes be really hard to describe, because it's a feeling more so than this like rational understanding of 1 + 2 = I'm having a great time,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because what is it?
Do you track your running and like use data?
Like I've got a sports watch that tracks it for me. I'm not very good at doing the follow up and looking at graphs and things like that afterwards. Yeah, it's something that I don't really do, to be honest.
So you're running by feel.
More or less. Like if I go out, I've definitely got generally a goal in terms of a time that I want to go out for a run, and then maybe a distance, usually a time. And then it's just kind of balancing that day to day and feeling it out. Yeah. Because
Cool.
with you and running, what is I know we've just said that it's really hard to describe, but
Yeah.
what is it about running that gets you so kind of jived up?
All of it. Yeah. Impossible to describe simply. But it's it's like the state I like to be in the most. It's where I do my best thinking, but also where I could just be not thinking and be in peace, or socializing and also alone, or exploring, some cool mountain somewhere, or just like pounding the pavement around the neighborhood. All of it is so wonderful and so much a part of my days.
Yeah, it's a kind of like a very common answer to not really be able to describe it, but just, describe what it is you do. And then you just kind of hope people have this innate ability to relate two of them together, because a lot of people come up to me and say, yeah, I would love to get into running. I really think it would be really great. You only need shoes and you can go out your front door. You obviously need clothes as well. But, I don't know what you do out in Golden. It's probably pretty chilled out there. You could probably run around whatever you want. But
No, we wear clothes.
Okay, good. Yes, excellent. So I guess so people come up to me and say, but I just hate running. Like it just hurts, and it's just not my thing. And I think first and foremost, people usually go a bit too hard on themselves, and it's just chill out a bit more. Running is a pretty natural thing once you allow yourself to, like you say, drop a watch and not really focus on your pace and just go by feel. I think.
Yeah.
And
you've got to build it up a little bit. You can't try it 2 times and then, draw a conclusion on if you like it or not. It takes a little bit of patience, and you got to put in those miles, put in some time on it to actually see. But yeah, I don't try and tell people that it's for everyone. Like you don't all have to love running, but I hope people find the thing that, gets them fired up in life in general.
Yeah, absolutely. That's also a very important thing to note, that it's not for everyone. Again, it's kind of like feeling it out, right? Like if you really don't enjoy it on that really, really intuitive level, then that's totally okay too.
Yeah.
When you spoke about the mental side of things and understanding more about reaching that limit in terms of the physical limit, and then having to kind of understand that can be okay, and working on that mental side. After your first 100 mile, did you go back and do homework on that? Did you look into specific experts in that field, or did you do a lot of research online to be what is the sports psychology and the psychology behind getting past that point next time I reach it?
I didn't know, but I did sign up for just more 50K and 50-mile races in general to learn a little bit more about the sport in that way. And I think I read more race reports from 100-mile races of just like anything I could find. I would just browse through it. And, the general consensus was that it's hard and then you keep going. And so it was like, okay, what I was feeling wasn't unique. It was supposed to be hard, but I didn't keep going. But I didn't do any like sports psychology research or anything like that.
So if we speak about the pain cave, so they say that pain's inevitable and suffering is optional. Do you allow yourself to suffer in races?
Yeah, I think that's the coolest part is when you can get to that pain cave and then choose to suffer a little bit more and a little bit harder to. I always just think of it as like I'm making my pain cave bigger each time. So like putting on a hard hat and grabbing a chisel when it gets to that point, and that's when I can actually do the work to be better for the next time.
So you enjoy the process of actually feeling the suffering in those situations.
Well, when you say it like that, it makes me sound really weird.
Well, I mean, I was going to talk about hallucinations, but it sounds like you're already hitting on that topic. You're just putting on a work hat and a pick and 100 miles into a race and you're going to work with the seven dwarfs or something,
I don't know what your question was. Sorry.
Neither do I. Hang on. I've got it again. We're going back there. Okay. So this, pain's inevitable, suffering's optional. Suffering is generally not like a great thing. So if you start to suffer, it can be detrimental to, just your experience and your existence in whatever you're doing in that moment. So my question was more like, you actually enjoy that painful suffering, and that's where you go, as opposed to, say, reframing that and being like, this is pain, but I'm not going to suffer. I'm not going to let that get the better of me, and I'm not going to like have the quality of my time right now deteriorate because of this pain, and choose to like not actually suffer from it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So I think I have been trying some different mental strategies, I guess, when it gets to that point. And I would say like 2 years ago, the main strategy I was using was trying to picture my pain cave being this really comfortable place, and like fluffy carpets and comfy chairs to sit in, and like disassociate from the discomfort and pretend it wasn't hurting at all. And then this past year, I decided to just embrace it and be good with it and be excited actually to get to the entrance of the pain cave, because it meant, that I was pushing hard and that I was in this cool place doing something that I love doing, and not ignoring the pain as much. But it's also an ultra, that I signed up for, that I'm choosing to do. And so that suffering and that pain is all optional, but I'm just putting myself in those spots. So I think it's a little bit different than a lot of pain and suffering people deal with.
Yeah. Well, that's cool to hear. I mean, it's a very again, it's a completely different way of framing exactly the same situation, right? At the moment, a lot of people are getting presented with a new life and a new routine in life, and I think there's a lot of people that might be like, "Oh, I'm really not enjoying this," but then having the option to be like, "Okay, this is what it is, and I don't want to. I'm trying not to suffer as a result of this time, because it's very different, and I think change as well is a very hard thing to be able to overcome sometimes. The resultant feelings of that. Have you ever been to the pain cave completely outside of running, training, anything like that? Has anything in life ever put you into the pain cave which you call back upon at a later stage?
Yeah, man, no one's ever asked me that. Yeah, 1 point for you. I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Okay,
Off the
we've got
top of my
time.
head, yeah. Yeah, let's just sit and stare while I think.
Sweet. Hey, so a chameleon walks into the bar and the bartender says, if your wife asks, I didn't see you.
Thank you. I love that.
It's a good one, hey, because he's a chameleon, so he can change color and become really, just in case you didn't get it. People can't see you laughing hysterically, so I just need to paint the picture that you're on the floor crying with the exceptional joke that just got laid down.
Thank you for that. That one probably came from Kev.
His algorithm, it just came all the way to Australia via the World Wide Web and dropped it. Excellent.
Thanks, Kev.
Thanks, Kev. Appreciate you. Sorry you couldn't be here, mate.
Yeah.
So back to what the incredible question that you're about to answer. But
yeah, I have to really ponder it, but I'm going to, and I'm going to get back to you. I'm sorry that it probably won't end up on this podcast then.
Totally all right. It's no big
That's
deal.
cool though. I've never thought of it.
Yeah, I mean, well, let it stew and get back to me when you can. So you're from Minnesota. I've learned a lot about Minnesota, by the way, lately.
Why?
Well, because I didn't know anything about it, and now I know some things about it.
Now you know it's a state.
Yeah, I knew it's a state. It's so I feel like as well though, it's also if you're from Minnesota, you've got a bit of a mindset that is like, correct me if I'm wrong, this is why I'm asking you the question, but like Minnesotans seem like it's a very much an attitude of you just get out there and get it done. Like that's part of the process. Is that a lot of like where your kind of understanding of doing things came from, is like came from that part of your life, that childhood and growing up in a place like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think Minnesotans are, you nailed it on the head. They're known for not making excuses and getting out there and working hard to take care of business, whatever that is. And my parents raised me that way. And it was a perfect state to grow up in for a lot of reasons, but that was definitely one of them.
When you look back in those times, do you have role models, obviously parents included, but like people you would actually give a shout out to right now if they were listening, which you should totally pass this podcast on to them, by the way. But if they were, who would you give a shout out to for someone who was like really kind of changed your attitude towards getting out there?
I think, well, my parents for sure, and my brothers, for all the reasons I listed and just how fantastic they are. And I had some amazing coaches and teammates growing up. So all of them, fostered this love for being outside and racing and working hard as a team, and taught me a lot about, how to push hard in a race or train, smartly or whatever. So yeah, all of it combined I'm very thankful for all of those pieces.
And I've so in my research on Minnesota, again, correct me if I'm wrong, like you do a lot of ski racing out there. Again, something I'm not really understanding of. So like, is it true that, you like put duct tape on your face to protect yourself from frostbite?
If it gets really cold, duct tape can help. Yeah. Vaseline or duct tape, anything covering, just creating another layer for your skin. It gets pretty cold in Minnesota in the winters.
Yeah, right. So what are we talking? Like how cold's cold?
I mean, -20s for sure, and wind chills can be much more negative. So yeah, there were a lot of cold days, a lot of, miserable weather that, every part of you wants to just stay inside under a blanket, but that's like not how it rolls in Minnesota. You still carry on and you keep going because there aren't a lot of great weather days there in the winter. And so making weather be an excuse or an easy an easy way to get out of something is not going to happen.
Yeah. So in regards to that, so that just like completely trickles into every element of your life, because I assume that it's not just about getting outside. It's like anything that you want to potentially try. I think it limits the excuses of actually getting out there and trying it.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're going to try it, then try it all the way. Like give it 100% and actually try, not just go through the motions of doing it.
I mean, it sounds like you're perfectly bred to go and take on some race like Arrowhead 135 or something like that, or like the Iditarod Invitational up in, I think, is that Alaska? I think it's
Alaska. Yeah.
Is that close to Minnesota? No.
No. But
that was a joke too. Of course, I knew it wasn't close to Minnesota. Jeez, been doing my research. Remember.
Yeah, those winter races are so impressive. I've never tried one and would love to eventually. We'll just see when it happens.
Yeah, because that is like a whole nother element of just, I don't want to say, I'm not going to use that word, which I was thinking, but that's a whole nother element to bring into the fold and just to include and talk about finding your limits and pain caves. I mean, surely that's going to bring that on a little bit sooner, I'd assume.
Absolutely. And they're oftentimes in those winter ultras, they're carrying their own gear, like on a sled behind them. So they're unaided. There's, not cozy aid stations to sit by a fire. You just keep trudging through the winter to get to the finish line. So it would be a really cool challenge to try.
Yeah. So, you've got a lot of trophies and a lot of accolades to your name. You've got a lot of titles you could use. Champion's just one of them of numerous races. So I kind of have this curiosity around achievement and success. Achievement I feel like can be like a more of a measured thing, like it can be quantified. But I feel like success is something that's a lot more personal. So like, when do you feel like you're successful as opposed to when do you feel like you've achieved something like winning X race?
Oh, man. Yeah, I think success to me has nothing to do with winning anything. It's like being a good person and, keeping in touch with all of my family and seeing them as much as possible and living a good life that positively impacts people and things. So it's definitely not associated to running really at all.
Do you have like Courtney's trophy cabinet, which takes up like the living room, or what's the story with that?
No, they're in just bins in storage in the basement.
Cool. Just saving them for sales later on, and you laugh. To not have them displayed all around the house and being used as doorstops and paperweights, like these trophies that you have, there's a lot of them, and I just kind of wonder why you're more happy to just kind of leave them in storage as opposed to sprout them around and have them as gnomes in your garden or something.
Yeah. It's just not for me. Yeah. If people want to do that and that brings them joy, then that's great. For me, I don't want them all over the house, but yeah, I've really fond memories of all of those races that I prefer to think of than to see like a statue or trophy or whatever.
Yeah. Because with you, like, back when you were a teacher and you were teaching, I assume that if someone asked you what you did, you'd be like, yeah, I'm a teacher. And nowadays you're assuming that you're full-time running and then kind of helping Kev with his extraordinary business on the side. But do you, like, how do you how do you describe what you do now?
Oh man, what's the scenario? Who's asking?
Okay, let's picture this. Right. So you do a lot of travel, right? You're in Minnesota, beautiful part of the world if you haven't been there. You hop on a plane, you're about to fly out to a large, big race, biggest race in the world, hugest race in the world. And someone sits on the plane next to you, a Minnesotan, nice people, and hands you a handful of candies and says, "Hey, mate, how you going? What do you do for a living?"
Oh man. So first of all, I'm not a big airplane talker, so this scenario is already swaying my answer.
But he's from Minnesota. He's handing you candy. I'm trying to soften the airplane effect, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it depends, but maybe I'd say running or hanging out. Maybe I'd try and bypass the question. I don't know.
When I used to travel when I was younger, travel as in terms of like no agenda, kind of get out there. A couple of friends had these real funny ideas to just make up professions, and one of them, which always sticks in my mind, and you're more than welcome to use it if you'd like, because obviously you're struggling here with ideas. But he said he's a swoosher. And I was
swoosher.
Like, yeah, a swoosher. And I'm like, what is a swoosher? He's like, oh, so what happens is when airplanes come into land in Australia, I'm the guy that swooshes all the kangaroos off the runway so the plane can land safely. I just thought that was brilliant. So I don't know what...
That's a good one.
I don't know what animal is running ravage in Minnesota, but you could be a swoosher for those on the airplane runways.
Yeah. No, I'm not trying to tell a fake story to anyone. Maybe I'll say runner, and then if they say like marathons, then I'd just say yeah, kind of, or something like that. I wouldn't like get into it too much.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't really like talking on airplanes. That's why I wear these insanely large headphones.
Yeah.
So, Courtney, if you what would be something that you think you would really want to get involved in, maybe at a later stage in your career, or when running maybe isn't such a bigger part of your life? Like, is there like a cause or a or like a belief that you would want to like champion going forward in this world?
Right now, I have no idea. So I don't want to say something and then think when we hang up like of 5 other things I would have loved to say. So no, I'm not sure right now, but I hope that I do find that next thing when I get to that, point in the road.
Because, there's just a couple of things that come into my mind. It's like, at the moment, you're like a pretty big flag bearer for this sport. You're in terms of the sport of ultra running and running as a whole. You're a lot of people look up to you in terms of just, I guess, your ability and the way you conduct yourself, and just the nice person that you are. I think is a big thing to look up to and use an example for people. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to put a lot of weight on your shoulders or anything like that, or obviously tell you anything you don't already know. But, you definitely have the ability to have some really positive impact and influence on people. I think, especially younger women as well, I think really look up to people like yourself. And I just that's kind of where the question stems from, is like, is there anything that you do have, behind the scenes that you actually really do feel passionate about, that you would maybe want to, spread the information about at a later stage.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And now I'll try not to screw it up.
No. You just keep being like good old Minnesotan that you are, and things are going to be fine.
Thank you.
So I actually did want to speak about, so hallucinations on the trail. Yeah. Have you figured out that point where that starts to happen?
No. And sometimes they don't happen, even in a long race, like at UTMB last year. I didn't have one hallucination. So there's races where I have tons of them, and then there's some long efforts that seem like they would have warranted a visit from a hallucination friend, and there was nothing. So I have not figured out the point.
So where did they come when you did experience them?
It's usually later in a race. So definitely when fatigue has set in. And a lot of times it's at night. I have had some daytime ones, but mostly when the lighting is pretty low.
So, so when you say later in a race, like what time, how long have you been kind of moving around for?
I guess I've had probably by mile 70 in 100-mile race. I've never had them in a 100K or shorter length race.
Yeah. So I'm just like wondering if like you're running along a trail and the next thing you're like, oh, the H train's coming along. I'm about to jump on that. Can't wait. So,
next time I'm going to think that.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect.
Can you give us what have you seen out there? I think it's so incredible and fascinating.
Yeah, I've seen a leopard in a hammock. I saw a cello player. I saw a cowboy with a giant yellow hat twirling a rope. There was an ice castle. There were cats all over the trail that I had to like step around. There's been so many. There were puppets on a swing set, but they were living puppets. So they were kind of like these creepy children puppet things. I don't know. That one was weird. Mostly mine are visual, and then they'll be just off to the side of the trail or even kind of close. And they're never like mean seeming. They never make me feel frightened for, my safety or anything.
That's cool. I mean, a friendly
at least they're friendly. Yeah.
It's
Have you ever had them?
I haven't. No. I mean, like I have, but it wasn't because I was running. It was other stuff. But I don't even know if you'd call that a hallucination. But anyway, yeah, it was. I haven't. No, I haven't. That's why I'm asking. I'm like, what do I need to go to do? So to hear that you had it at 70 miles is, it's interesting. Like that's like figure out when the H train comes along and you can hop on board and really make ultras interesting.
Oh, I'm excited for you to have that happen.
Yeah. I'll be on the phone call. I'll be like, Courtney, guess what? And then you'll be like, Mael, guess what? I found my passion. I know what I'm going to do after this. It's going to be a great follow-up call, that's for sure.
Perfect.
So Courtney, when you're setting out a plan and when you're thinking about what you want to do and where you want to go with all of this in terms of, running at the moment, like, are you trying to find like a human limit or more so like a limit within yourself? Like, do you think that you right now have the ability to shoulder the capacity to push further than any human and be like, this is what we can do, everyone? Like, you need to follow me because I know where we're going, and it's vastly further than we've ever gone before.
I hope not. I hope, whatever I end up finding and, however far that is or however fast it is, that someone then shatters that, at some point. But for me, I'm going to keep trying to figure out what that limit is. And maybe then I'm contributing to helping other people, push past that point. But we'll see. Yeah, it's cool to think about and like be able to just try and find out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so awesome because you enjoy what you do, right?
Yeah, I love it.
So good to hear. Have you ever felt like you've been able to really empower someone to do something that they otherwise wouldn't have done or didn't think they could do?
Social media is cool because you connect, to so many people all over the world. So, I've gotten messages and been able to, talk with people then through social media that, didn't think they could ever run. And then they end up doing a 5K or whatever. So it's cool. And it doesn't have to be huge, but just trying something that sounds too hard to do is usually the thing then you should try to do, because we can surprise ourselves with what we're capable of then.
Yeah, rad. I think that is a perfect thing to take away. Just if you think it's too hard to do, then that's probably where you should go with whatever it is that you're thinking of doing.
Nailed it.
Excellent. Hey, well, this would have been the moment where I would have said, okay, let's change over the microphone. Let's give it to Kev and let's find out what really happens out in Golden and talk to Kev about what he wears when he goes running. But
yeah, sorry to disappoint.
Yeah, that's okay. You and I both know that he's currently filling the world with incredibly humorous jokes, and we can appreciate him for that.
He's hard at work. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's wrap it up, and I'm just going to do that by saying thanks so much. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I just hope you can fulfill what you want to do this year with everything, and I hope that this part in time is going to pass over and we all find that little bit of normality again with being able to do what we kind of plan to do, I suppose.
Yeah. Thank you. It was good to see you. Good to chat. Hopefully we're sharing trails again soon.
Yeah, that would be rad, mate. Well, let's keep in touch, and I hope you have a good time out in Golden, enjoying the trails whilst you're still under quarantine.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise.
Say hi to Kev for me.
I will. Have a good one.
Cheers, mate. Catch ya.
So thanks a lot, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed that conversation with Courtney, and I really hope you were able to connect, listen, learn, and then create some evolution from the conversation that we had. I really enjoyed it. It was really great to speak to Courtney, and just, it just reaffirms that she really is a humble person that is just getting after something she really enjoys, and she's got a really good support network to help her achieve some amazing things right now. So please reach out to her, let her know what you think about what she's getting up to, and if you also can reach out to us, then please do that and let us know what you think about the podcast. As always, we just take time and effort, and we put these podcasts out there, so it's really just a small reward to hear what you guys think. It really is important for us to get that feedback, just because it's a pretty quiet place having a conversation to a microphone a lot of the time when I'm doing these intros and outros, and I just wonder who's listening. So thanks a lot anyway. I hope you have a great morning, evening, or day where you are, and look forward to putting out another podcast soon. So again, thank you. Thanks to Courtney for having the chat, and let's keep maintaining the art of conversation. Thanks a lot.